Hello everybody, this is Margaret and welcome to the Boheme podcast. This is episode 24 and on today's podcast we are drawing a winner for the NUTIDEN massive sweaters quantity worth giveaway. I am also introducing a new giveaway for 3 skeins that's over 1,200 yards of a very special yarn that I think you will love. I'll also share my works in progress, my finished knit, or one that I am wearing that was finished by my daughter. That's more accurate. And also a few good things and Stashquisitions. So let's get started. Boheme is a podcast primarily about knitting, but it also includes inspiration from the world of the classical arts, including music and any random drippings from the brain pan. And today I'd like to just take a few moments later in the podcast to share with you some of the musical projects that I'm working on, the dream world of Robert Schumann. And I'll play a piece that I think will be inspiring for us, especially as we head into the summer season. So let's start off by drawing the grand prize winner for the NUTIDEN giveaway. So I am so thrilled that we had, excuse me, as I get my basket, we had so many amazing people respond with amazing color pairings. The prompt was to win the giveaway is just to share what your 2 current favorite yarn pairings are. And we had just like the most amazing assortment of color pairing ideas, and they were nothing short of poetic, and I'd like to just share a few. Karen Cabers 2681 wrote sage green and pale peach. Isn't that winner? And even as I wear this sage green top today, I'm thinking, wow, how beautiful a pale peach would be with that. Shirley Knits 123 mentioned that she loves pumpkin, orange, and champagne. That's a gorgeous combination. Michelle Cummings said that she loves the combination that she made in her Beethoven, electric Beethoven Sunday Shrug kit, which she got from my own hand-dyed yarn, which is Boheme yarn. And this was my electric Beethoven Sunday Shrug kit. And this included the 2 colorways, Swamp and Electric Yellow. So I'm so glad you are enjoying that, Michelle. And so Norma Williams, 1752, mentioned that she loves lavender and celery green. Oh, absolutely, like I'm thinking English countryside with that. It's so beautiful. Shannon Testine 1562 wrote that navy and pink. And recently when I've been seeing some of those, you know, like deep navies with these almost chalky pinks, I just go crazy for that. I love that. And this was so poetic as well from Lois Marie Todd 1502, cerise and orange. So thank you. These are just combinations that are completely beyond. Like I said, we had over 200 responses, and so to pick a winner, what I did was I went into my random generator app and I randomly generated a number between 1 and 222, which was the final count that I had. And the number that I got was 137. Before I say the winner, I should say that the winner for this giveaway prize, of 300 grams of sweaters quantities worth of this gorgeous NUTIDEN yarn in the colorway Loose from their early spring 2023 collection is, drumroll please, Lifetime Solutions LLC 7257. Woo! Yay! Wow! congratulations. That is just really, really a lot of great yarn that you will be receiving. All you have to do to claim your prize is just email me at info@thegrandmanor.com, and I'm putting that down in the show notes, and just let me know that you're the grand prize winner, and just share your address with me where I could send your grand prize. Okay, so I also love what Lifetime Solutions wrote, that their favorite color combo of the moment is turquoise and rust. Ooh, that's one of my favorites too. Beautiful. Okay, what is the next colorway? Well, this is the next colorway that is going to be given away. And I got this yarn when it just came out, which was less than a year ago, I think. I lost track of time. But in any case, it's from Chasing Rabbits Fiber Company, and it's very special yarn because this is yarn that you can use for regular projects or for assigned pooling projects. And if you're not familiar with assigned pooling, well, it just makes incredible effects. And I'll insert a picture here of a design that features yarn which has assigned pooling. This is the colorway Boheme, and if you've ever seen the opera La Boheme by Puccini, or if you've ever seen the movie Moonstruck with Nicolas Cage and Cher, then you will really be able to see why this is so appropriately named. It has all the drama, all the romance, all the exquisite passion of that opera and the music in these skeins. It has this glorious rusty orangey red with this dramatic black. And what you can do if you choose one of the assigned pooling projects is to make either a shawl, sweater, or whatever you like, and just use the red parts to do, you know, those special things like baubles, or, you know, any way to showcase the yarn. But, you know, really the options are limitless. So to win 3 skeins, over 1,200 yards of this beautiful yarn, which is in figuring weight, 100% superwash fine merino, all you have to do is answer the following prompt. The question is, now that it's summer, many people travel, I'd like to know, what is a special place that you've traveled to that you are thinking about right now with the fondest memories? And I'm sure we all have many places where we have traveled, and so to narrow it down to one is probably challenging. But I do feel that when we think about that one trip, it's often associated with a place that we are in our own life right now. Like, for instance, I've been to a lot of beautiful places in my life, and recently I shared 2 trips with you on this podcast. One was a trip to Paris that I took in April with my husband, and another was last week's trip to the Greenbrier in West Virginia, where we celebrated my daughter Maia's 20th birthday, and those were very special places. But at this moment in time, what resonates with me is a trip that I took back in 2005. My kids were very young, and I was in a transitional point in my life in terms of what do I do next in my career. And so my husband and I took a trip. He was there for business. I tagged along, and it was to Nevada. And we stayed in Henderson. And I'll never forget one day, as I was mulling over these thoughts, like, what's next? What should I do next? Should I take a chance? Should I open this business? Should I not? Like, what should I do? I went on a walk, and it was on this walk with the, you know, red rock around me, this different atmosphere that I'm not used to here in the Northeast, you know, this like really incredible climate and just the majesty of the red rock. It just led me to the answer, what my next step should be. So I'd love to know, what is a trip that is especially meaningful to you that you can conjure up in your memory right now? It doesn't have to be, you could just say the place, or you could share why it's important to you, why it's special to you. In any case, I'd love to just hear your comments. That's one of my favorite things, is this community. So thank you so much for your openness. And so along those lines of trips, I'd like to share with you a short piece by Robert Schumann. Robert Schumann was born in 1810, and he was one of the great composers of the Romantic era. In Robert's music, we can hear imagination. He takes us on these flights of fancy. His imagination had no limits. He was a great, voracious, not only reader, but writer. He loved the literary arts. He even had a newspaper that he published, and he loved characters, and he made up these imaginary characters. Right now, I am working on a piece of Schumann. My summer is dedicated to learning a lot of Schumann's music, and this piece is called Kreisleriana, and it's based on short stories by E.T.A. Hoffmann, Tales of Hoffmann. You might be familiar with that. In any case, these are just great imaginative stories, and so he put this into music, which is amazing. But right now, what I'd like to share with you is a piece called Of Foreign Lands and People. So I just felt like this resonates very much with the prompt theme of traveling and having new experiences. So as you listen to this piece of music, I'd just like to offer that as a prompt to maybe use this music to conjure up in your memory, in your heart, a trip that was especially meaningful to you, or a trip that you're especially looking forward to. Why not? Future, past, present, future. It's all good. Okay, so now on to the knitting content. So let's start off with what I'm wearing. I am wearing the Anker Tee by Petite Knits, and this is a knit that my daughter Maia made, and she made it using the Linen by Sadness Garn in, I would call this like an olivey colorway, and the number is in the show notes below. She made it exactly to pattern. She made the size medium, and as you can see, it's got a lot of negative ease. So it's a very drapey fabric, and it just was a breeze to knit. She did say that the yoke part just was a little time consuming because it involved, doing some purl stitches and alternating knit and purl. But other than that, it's a very classic knit. I do think that it's got a lot of designer flair to it. Like when I look at this, it reminds me of something very Prada I don't know why. It's sleek, it's cool, it's modern, it's sophisticated. I guess also the color choice does add that flair to it. I've paired it with some palazzo pants, which I've had in my wardrobe forever, and these are just like very, very like loose and open, a little bit high-waisted, which I prefer high-waisted on me. And yeah, paired it also with the little silk scarf I've had also forever because I never let go of scarves. And it's just a great summer top. If you're in the market for an easy breezy summer tee, consider this one. Great pattern, easy to follow, many different sizes. The linen was fun, easy to work with. A wonderful, wonderful project. Okay, so she let me use it for the podcast because I wanted to show something because I had nothing finished. Okay, but what I do have as my work in progress is something behind me, but let me preface it by giving you a little background. Now, last week, if you listened to the podcast, I was showing you that I had the intention of knitting something up in this Big Birdie colorway called Il Mare, which I had in my stash for, I would say, over a year now. It was part of their summer collection 2022, the Italian collection, and this blue just really like struck me. But I wasn't sure what to knit with it. I was going to make a Badger in Bloom using this and an orange by Lamb & Kit called Plaid is my favorite color, but I never got around to it. It just wasn't happening. And so I just let it simmer. And then when I saw Leslie Friend's version of the fancy sweater by Lamb & Kit, it really just, I don't know. I was like, I have to make one eventually. But in any case, I also loved the Breton shawl by Lamb & Kit. And so I figured, oh, I really would love to make that, you know, basic shawl. And so last week on the podcast, that's what I told you, was that I would be making the Breton shawl. And so I started it. And I got out my size 10 needles and went to town. And I did have about, I would say, from my Sunday shawl that I made, I did have leftover Big Birdie in oats. I think this is oats or vintage colorway. And I thought it would be enough for the shawl. I started knitting the shawl and I was just so enamored with this color combo, everything, the vibe. It had like a very retro vibe to it. I said, maybe for my own use, a shawl isn't as practical as a sweater. And so this is when I decided to make a game time decision and abort my shawl and instead use the yarn in a different way for a sweater, which in my wardrobe would get more wear. So this is what I did. And so this is the fancy sweater in the works. And I've got 3 skeins of the Big Birdie, which I think should be more than enough for this sweater. As it is, I'm still on the first skein. So Big Birdie goes a long way, I have to say. I made some modifications just because I don't know what happened to my needles. Like, I've lost so many of my interchangeable needles. And I mean, they're not really lost. I'm sure they're in project bags somewhere or on other projects, or who knows where they are. Maybe Maia has some that she took to her college dorm. I don't know where they are. So I didn't have the needles that were used for this project, which is a 9, but I did have 10s. And for the shawl, I started that on 10s and I liked the fabric. So I decided to keep the 10s and alter the pattern slightly because obviously my gauge was larger than the pattern intended. So the only thing I did was I was making this small size. So I decided to shave off 10% from each number in the small size. So where it said to cast on 80 stitches for the collar, I cast on 72. So you get the idea. And I just did the same variation throughout. I'm using Leslie Friend's notes from her Ravelry page when she made her striped fancy sweater. I'm using her notes as a basis for this sweater. The only difference is that she went every 10 rows according to her notes before adding the contrast stripe. I am going every 12 rows, mostly because I want to save the yarn because I don't know if I'll have enough to complete this project. I'm sure I will, but just to be a little bit conservative with the yarn. Now that I've split for the sleeves, I have to make a decision and decide, do I want to keep going this width or do I want to take it in a little bit? So I think I'll just kind of like keep trying it on as I go and then make a game time decision at that point. And so far so good. It's just so glorious to work with the big birdie. Oh my gosh. And it takes everything I have in terms of self-control not to right now this weekend purchase even more. Takes a lot of self-control because they have a lot of great colors right now on the Dye to Order event. So this weekend Caddy Jacks podcasted, and oh my gosh, like anytime there's a Caddy Jacks podcast, I just feel like I have so much to look forward to. I get so much joy from seeing Caddy Jacks. I get so much inspiration. I love their friendship. I love their knits. I love their ideas. I love their style. I just, it's just so great. This knitting community is so great and so giving. And so anyway, so grateful to be part of this world. So that's my current work in progress. And also I did, if you watched last week, I did tell you about the sweater number 14 by My Favorite Things that I started in NUTIDEN yarn. Yes, held with one strand of silk mohair. And this silk mohair is by Isagar. And this is the NUTIDEN. Ooh, and that's in the Languster colorway, which I got that last year, I think, one of their updates. And so this is just like a cloud. It's an absolute billowy cloud. I'm so loving this. I'm so loving this. This is going to be my slow summer knit. And so I did go as far as picking up stitches for the left front. I was a little skeptical whether like where to pick up those stitches. I wasn't sure, but thanks to some encouragement from you viewers telling me I was on the right track and everything's good, I did have the confidence to go forward. I also did find a podcast on YouTube where somebody knit and documented their whole process from beginning to end knitting this project. So I used that also as reference to make sure I was picking up in the right place. And it makes sense, but I'm so bad with spatial relations. Like it takes me a long time to figure out how things are supposed to be constructed unless I have a really clear map. So that's my own brand of crazy. But in any case, just swimming along on this and really enjoying this fiber. It's just beautiful. The billowy softness of this unspun wool by NUTIDEN is a sublime experience, not to mention the variation in the colors. Like it's got some yellows, it's got some pinks, it's got even some lavenders and grays. It's a whole world. Okay, so that's it for my works in progress. And now on to the good things segment and a couple of small Stashquisitions, but in any case, nothing is really small. It's big. Last week I went with Maia again to Mother Knitter in Red Bank, New Jersey. We love it there. We just love it. It's such a beautiful store, and we love the lunch place next to it. It's called Prep. I think it's called Prep. If you're ever in that area, they have great sandwiches. Oh my gosh. So we took a Saturday road trip down there, had lunch, and of course we had to stop in. We didn't necessarily have anything that we needed, but when I saw this hedgehog fiber sock yarn in this colorway, I just went absolutely crazy for it and knew it just had to happen. I don't know how so many colors could possibly fit into one skein of yarn and all harmonize so beautifully. This is, to me, like one of my favorite painters, Pierre Bonnard, who used a lot of colors all together in unexpected ways. And I was lucky to see a whole Bonar exhibit when we were in Denmark, like in 2019 before COVID. And this is like one of his paintings in a skein. What am I going to make with this? I'll tell you what I'm not going to make with it is a fingering weight sweater. I just don't do that. No, 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 not for me. But what I'm thinking about is taking a bunch of fingering weight skeins and holding many strands together and knitting up an Aran weight sweater. I once saw something like this in a fancy boutique on Madison Avenue in New York when I was just walking around, and I stepped into the Miu Miu store. Miu Miu and Prada are, I believe they're still under the same designer, which is Miuccia Prada. In any case, there was a sweater that was, you could see that it had multiple strands on each stitch, and it was a heavy sweater, but it was so stunning. It made such an impression on me. I never forgot it, and I thought one day I'll have to knit something using that technique. So this might be the time to do it. I just thought, like, if you have any random fingering weight skeins and don't know what to do with them, and you know, maybe you're like me and you know, don't want that like laborious long fingering weight sweater knit project, but want to make something out of it, consider using many strands and making it into a bulkier weight garment or accessory or something like that. That way you get all of the bang of the color and, you know, have it be going faster and thicker. Not only do I not make fingering weight sweaters anymore because it's a bit too time consuming for me, but I also don't wear them because they're not as warm. I'm always really cold. And so I find that the bulkier weights are just better for that. Although having just said that, I'm just remembering that I just placed an order yesterday on Lamb & Kid to make the trio from the trio yarn that Lamb & Kid has to make these tanks by Jessie May that Caddy Jacks was talking about. So I did actually get yarn for mine and for Maia. So Maia chose, she wants to make hers in pout, and I couldn't resist that yellow. And when I saw it on Jackie, I was like, that is such a great color, and I just thought it was so much fun. It's the sunny side one. So yeah, so we're waiting for that. So that is an exception to the rule of not knitting garments in fingering for me. But since it's a tank, I get the reason, like you want it to have that fine gauge. So super excited about that. Last but not least, I didn't expect to get this, but I happened to be in Target yesterday and I saw this bag and I just said, oh my gosh, it's so cute. I said, how cute would this be as a little knitting bag? Especially with beach coming up, you know, going to the beach, knitting on the beach, or just knitting outside. And oh, I just loved these fluorescent pink handles, and that canvas beige color was just hitting me like in all the right places. I was like, oh, that has to happen. Also this flat bottom, so you can have your hand knits and they could stay up as you knit, right? Pouches for notions and needles and accessories and phones and all that stuff, as well as inside pockets. I just thought that was so cute. So it was $30. It was made by, the tag says, A New Day. A New Day. So just something out, you know, to throw out there in case you're looking for a tote, in case you need another knitting bag. I just thought this was super cute and versatile. I think I might even just wear it as a handbag too, because it's just so much fun. So cute. And that's it. That's all I've got for this week. So anyway, thanking you all so much for being here. Be sure to join the giveaway to win 3 of these glorious skeins. For any like assigned pulling ideas, I will link to Dawn Barker's page, and she has quite a number of patterns to consider for this you know, particular yarn if you should choose to go that direction. But like I said, I'm sure you can knit anything out of it. And yeah, so just tell me a trip that is meaningful to you that you've taken or plan to take. Destination, would love to know. And in the meantime, I just wish you a glorious week. Happy knitting, happy living, and we'll talk soon. Okay, bye.